again, everybody. Welcome to Good to Know Shreveport Bossier. This is a podcast that showcases all the good things happening in our community. My name is Jeff Binefor. This is my co-host, Paul Reeser, former president of the Reeser Group, a sonic management company, the Committee of 100 board member. Clearly, he can't hold a job. Now, each week we'll focus on economic development, community growth, and other topics about initiatives that are having a positive impact on our community. We have new episodes every other Wednesday, and you can find Good to Know wherever you listen to your podcast. So we got all of that stuff out of the way. We have a special guest as always. Take away the intro, Paul.
Well, we did it again, Jeff.
Did we?
We've outdone ourselves.
What did we do?
And when I say ourselves, I mean me.
Yeah, I knew that.
No, we have the Vice Chancellor of Strategic Initiatives from LSUS, Dr. Julie Lessiter. Now, there is so much going on at LSUS right now with cyber innovation, cyber collab, helping people learn how to take advantage of these new technical jobs. Just tell us a little bit about your position right now at LSUS and how you got here.
Yep, absolutely. So again, Julie Lessiter, Vice Chancellor of Strategic Initiatives, and this is maybe one of the most fun jobs.
Dr. Julie Lessiter. She's very humble because she has this education, educational leadership, and this criteria that have gotten you to this lofty position, doing great things at LSUS. But we'll call you Julie. I know that's what you prefer.
Well, I appreciate that. And I will say, you know, for me, education doesn't just change lives, it changed generations. And
nice.
So that's something that we understand when we work in higher education, and that's what we're really passionate about, is how do we provide that opportunity for people to go from here all the way and live out their dreams and have these jobs and have a successful career that perhaps they never thought they could have. Wow. And you know, there's a lot of really passionate people who work at LSU Shreveport. We're all about students and all about our student success. And so that is the foundation of what we do every day, and you know, we just are there to help our students become better people and have success in their careers.
Well, the success at LSU, as you're working with, I know you're working with a lot of developing people, getting them ready for the workforce and helping them transition right here in Shreveport Bossier.
Yes.
But you've done a great job also in the enrollment. Is that record numbers right now? What's going on with that?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of my roles is to oversee enrollment management and online learning, and then our continuing education workforce development area. So all of that fits together in terms of different opportunities for people to start, whether it's on the non-credit or credit side, and then work their way up towards their undergraduate degree and their graduate degree. And so we've been really nimble in our approach to how we do multiple different offerings for everybody that is looking for some sort of educational experience. And so we have our undergraduate programs, which we have a lot of face-to-face programs, and then we took our online professional programs, or our graduate professional programs, and put them online. And we put them into these compressed 8-week sessions. And so students who are generally working professionals can now have these educational opportunities right from home. They don't have to find a way to come to campus, you know, 1 night a week, 2 nights a week. And so it's really opened up this educational market for people to say, oh, I'm looking for opportunity. Here it is. You can step in, step out, multiple different start times. And we've really exploded.
Even before the pandemic, you were just on the cutting edge. You were highly rated with your MBA program. I mean, a nationally ranked Master's Business Administration program. Huge online footprint before we went into the pandemic. So how are you recovering now coming out of pandemic?
Yeah,
the new normal.
The new normal. I love that phrase. I hear it so often now. But you know, we had our highest enrollment actually.
He's not very original.
I heard it somewhere.
I'm sorry.
Oh, we hear it all the time. It's great. So we actually had our highest enrollment fall 2020, which was the COVID year when everybody went and worked remote.
Sure. Yeah.
Didn't come to campus. You know, we were home for about 3 to 4 months ourselves. But operations as normal, everybody you know, worked together to again ensure that the students had what they needed to have to be successful. But because we'd had that preparation and being very strong in our online programs, and because we had the technology in place to do that, we flourished under COVID. I know enrollment at a lot of schools went down, but we were incredibly successful. We went up.
Nice.
Because you had a lot of people sitting at home going, "Oh my gosh, what should I do? I'm not working," and we had these opportunities for them to further their education and further their careers. And our enrollment exploded that year, so it was great.
I want to talk more about all of that stuff in a minute, but I want to dig into your background a little bit because I'm interested. You look like a runner to me. Are you a runner?
He's good.
Of course. So you had a background in sports.
I did.
Tell us about that.
So I'm originally from England. I came to.
I would have never guessed.
Well, some people don't.
Pip, cheerio.
That's actually pretty good.
So is Jeff. Jeff has a cousin. There was a chimney sweep in England.
Yeah, he'll explain that later.
There's a story behind it. But I was actually a tennis player. I was a very good tennis player. So I came to the United States on a tennis scholarship many, many years ago.
Nice. To what school?
To Northwestern State University.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, well, how about that? And you stayed.
I stayed.
Yeah.
Stayed. And I actually ended up working at Northwestern State. I was there for 9 years working in athletics, and then took a quick hiatus up to Arkansas, and then missed Louisiana.
Yeah.
I love the people.
Nice.
People in Louisiana are amazing.
So you're saying the people in Louisiana are better than the people in Arkansas? Is that what you're saying? Come on.
My gosh, now you're putting me in a situation. But no,
don't answer that question.
There's
don't answer that question.
There's so much culture and so much to love about Louisiana that unless you experience it, it's hard to explain to people
All right, cool.
What it is. But then I had this opportunity to transition over to the academic side of the house, and people who work in athletics, they're so dedicated. They work 7 days a week, hours and hours, and I was like, okay, if I'm going to have a real life, then if I want to do athletics still myself, like play tennis and run and do all this kind of stuff, I need to have some time to do it. So, but it was great. I spent 12 years working in athletics, and still have some really great colleagues and friends.
I know what you mean. I was a basketball guy, so I played basketball for as long as I could. And then I got into racquetball. I was a nationally ranked player, and I just beat my body up so much I can't do anything anymore. But I still love sports. I love it.
Yeah, it's really about being a part of something that's bigger than you, right? And that is hard to replicate in any other career or any other team environment. So. That's a good one.
And obviously, if you're listening on the podcast, you should come to check it out on video, because Dr. Lessiter obviously has been working out. The young lady has got some guns.
Yeah.
But with your physical fitness background and your education, also leadership background, I know now you are really involved in this immersive learning. So you've gone from online, but now we're talking about immersive learning and the cyber collaboratory, the high-tech evolution of learning. So tell us about what's going on.
Yeah, I understand none of that, so please explain.
XR, just
XR, all together. AR, VR, XR, the new one is UX as well, like user experience, like how does someone go through a website and it's easy enough for someone to navigate through. That's one example. But, because of the growth of our online programs, that enabled us to reinvest dollars back into our campus. And so what we did was build out a lot of immersive learning environments. So we have our design thinking space, which is really important because it teaches critical thinking and problem solving, which are really important nowadays to being successful in your career and life, like being able to intentionally teach people how to problem solve. We have our cyber collaboratory, which is our hands-on learning for new technology. We have holographic table. We actually have an esports classroom. We have an immersive learning classroom. We have a command and control center. We have 3D printers. You name the technology, we have it. It's absolutely amazing. We have our high performance testing center, which is the human physiology piece, where you can come and do all the fun things like VO2 max and body fat testing. And
no, I don't want to do that.
Would you pass that one? You'd make a high grade.
A high score, yeah. You'd have a really high
top
score
of the
there.
table.
There you go. And we have a biomechanics lab, which is great. When you talk about athletics and you talk about, you see these young kids that take baseball, for example, they're throwing over and over again, they get these repetitive injuries. So how do we show them from a rehab perspective and correct that technique? and you can do that from the biomechanics lab, and it's you don't even have to wear wires anymore. They just put little dots on, they film someone throwing, they work with PTs from a rehab perspective. It's amazing, and that's open to the general public as well.
That is incredible. All that stuff's going on at LSUS.
All that stuff, and the great thing is it gives our students that hands-on learning
Right.
for future careers. So our students are the ones that are going to be doing the VO2 max testing, the body fat testing, and the biomechanics lab. So when they get out into the career field or into the job market, you know, not only do they have this diploma that says they've got a degree in X, Y, or Z, they've also got that experience where they can say, well, I've worked in a lab and I've done these sorts of things. So
And I heard you tell a story about that, because we talk a lot VR learning, virtual reality, people learning, distance learning, they're learning online, but you're really wanting to get people back into the classroom. And you told a story about an immersive experience where you showed these kids like, oh no, we've got a 3D printer, and you didn't think it was going to be that great.
Yeah.
Tell us that story.
yeah, the first time we rolled out a 3D printer, we had some high schools come through, and we were just printing this short 3-piece chain link. And so we had the kids come through, and they all just zeroed in on this 3D printer and were fascinated by it and wanted to touch it. And I said, hey, don't you guys all have one of these like at your school? And
Doesn't everybody? Come
Right,
on.
I was like, people have these at their houses. Don't you have these at your school? They were like, no, we've never seen this. And that was like a light bulb moment for me, particularly in the area that we live, to be able to say, to bring these students in and say, you know, here's the technology of the future.
Right.
You can see yourself doing these kinds of jobs because you can come and experience it here. I'll give you another great example. We have this STEM summer camps. So we have this STEM continuum of summer camps from 4th grade to 12th grade. And it's the most fun thing to go and see. We have robotics, we have all sorts of programming, and we have a little graduation where they come in and they show off what they've been doing. But we had, it was probably a group of 8-year-olds and a holographic wall. And so a hologram, you know, you can see things from different angles, 360. It goes beyond a 2D image in a book, which is like, oh, that's flat. I don't know what that is, to really being immersed in whatever environment it is. And so we had a dinosaur. And we snapped the picture at the right time because this 8-year-old kid, like, look of fascination on his face when the dinosaur popped up. And, you know, I was like, mic drop. My job here is done. You know, it was amazing.
So look, I'm into superheroes.
Yeah.
And Green Lantern is my favorite character. So can you make me a Green Lantern statue on the 3D printer?
We could make that on a 3D printer.
Photo.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, all right.
That's exactly where we want our educational tax dollars going. Well, and now, and speaking of dollars, so this is an expensive proposition, and I understand that you had a large grant to go and help with the cyber innovation portion.
You know, we've had so much support from the local community and industry, and I'm just blown away every time I talk to someone and I'm like, hey, I've got this project that I'm trying to fund, and here's why it's good for this community. It's workforce development, it's the pipeline of employees for, you know, next generation. Can you help me? And nobody has ever told me no. So I don't know. Maybe one person will tell me no.
It might be the accent.
Well, maybe.
Or maybe the guns. Maybe they're scared.
I'm gonna keep
By guns,
all
I mean
of
these
those.
huge biceps.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
really? Yeah. Thanks for explaining. Did you just mansplain to me? I think you did.
It's a full-time job, yeah. No, but no, I'm sorry. I should never interrupt. My wife gets on to me for that.
That's all right.
But we're talking about
Yeah. So recently,
nobody has denied you your request for help.
Because it is so important to what we do in this region, right? So everyone is behind supporting education because again, we're all in favor of bringing new jobs to this region and how do we help this community rise up. And so we actually just got $2.5 million from the legislature for cybersecurity programming. And so there's two parts to what we're doing with that. So again, we talk about building the pipeline all the time. So we have a K-12 initiative with that. We're doing cyber escape rooms, cyber camps, a cyber academy, all sorts of things to help the kids normalize that jobs in cyber or career in cyber is something that they could do. And then we have the piece for our students where they're going to get hands-on learning in what we call an intern security operations center. That's a SOC. Not like the socks that you normally wear. There's all kinds of...
or the sock that I might...
Love
that one, talking of
That I might
guns and punching. And so again, it's that hands-on learning. So we're not just graduating students who have sat in a classroom and know theory. Right? That's great. That's needed. You need to understand the why. But then we're actually getting them to the point where they can work on real world problems so that they can have that ability to walk in on the first day and go, oh, I know what that dashboard is. I know what that one is. And so that is the differentiator for us in what we're trying to do with our students.
Are you able to connect them with internships to help them get work experience?
Yes. And so this SOC, Security Operations Center, is going to be run by interns.
Write that down.
There's a new term for you. And we've had a lot of industry partnerships. And I tell you, when you talk about industry partnerships as well, that's part of my job, is to go and talk to people and say, what is it that you guys are looking for? Who do you need? What are the skills? And again, industry has been fantastic in their support of what we're doing. And they're like, how can we help you? Here's some opportunities. Perhaps you could go in this direction. I'm sure I should be paying them for all this advice they're giving me, but they've been great.
You mentioned a few minutes ago, or Paul did, or you both did, I can't remember, but it was you're very interested in getting the students back into the classroom.
Yeah.
Explain why.
To me, there's some things you can do in online learning, right? Online learning changes the ability of someone, say, in a rural community to be able to have access to education. But some of the fundamental skills, this is why I think that higher education will never go away. Because you could learn everything you really need to learn, say, on a YouTube channel, right? How many times have you Googled or YouTubed, how do I do this? But there's something, the value add of being in the classroom is that communication, that team building, how do we work together? It's the soft skills. And so when I talk to industry all the time, they say, well, we need this certification. And I say, well, that's fantastic. We'll embed certifications into our degree programs. But what you really need are these people that are well-rounded humans who have these ability to communicate, the ability to sit and talk with one another. And you can do that online. You can do, Zooms and...
It's not the same.
It's not the same. And, this next generation, they grew up with their phones.
Right.
Communication isn't generally not one of their strong points. So forcing them to be together and to develop those interpersonal and communication skills is really important. And again, something else I'm passionate about is to be able to make them sit and have that communication. And the best thing is when you bring people together from different backgrounds, it's that cultural competency piece. You grew up in a different world than I did, or totally different set of circumstances. So did you. So when you put the three of us together and we talk about our life experiences, and we are a product of our experience, we can learn so much from each other.
Right.
And that is the beauty of having people in a room together, is learning how other people live, how other people think.
Sure.
And
Plus, that's the technical stuff. I've got to have somebody walk over and tell me how to do everything.
So you're asking me
Stand over my shoulder, push this button now.
You said how many times we Google. I'm thinking 15 times before 5, and Jeff, he's like, what to Google? So he's got encyclopedias, though, and he knows everything in his brain.
I used to. I'm getting older. It's going away.
You talked about the STEM program and the summer camps.
Yes.
So we're starting with kids. I'm sure that helps for the socialization, also the hands-on with the robotics.
Yeah.
How do people get involved with that if they're saying, oh, I want my kid to go to STEM camp?
Yeah, we actually do a lot of advertising for our STEM camps, which are run through our continuing education divisions. So lsus.edu/CE. Or if you Google us on Facebook.
Say that again.
We'll put that in the notes.
Yeah.
But let's say it one more time.
Say it again, seriously.
www.lsus.edu/C for car, E for education.
Okay.
And a full list of our summer camps are there.
Or you can Google it.
Or you can Google it, yeah. And one of the really great things that we've done is with our industry partners, we have scholarships for summer camp too.
Oh, nice.
And we've really tried to help kids in need, financial need, to be able to come to these camps. And that's something we're super passionate about.
So, as an old sports person, and now you're into all of this cyber stuff, so what's the attraction now to young kids? Is it more sports, or is it, because that's all I did growing up, is it more sports, or is it more the cyber stuff?
Oh boy, we fight this every day, right? That's a good question, but let me tell you what sports teaches you, right? Remember why I said it's important for us to bring our people together? Teamwork, communication, problem solving, conflict resolution, working with others. And so I'm a big proponent of putting your kids in sports because it teaches you so much beyond the ability to kick a soccer ball or throw a baseball or anything like that. But it's a mix, I also grew up going to every sports camp that there was. But we've had some really fun. We always like to put the arts in STEM for STEAM. So we've had cartoon character camps, we've had drawing camps, art camps. I mean, all of these, because again, we don't live just in a technical world, we live in a very visual world, right? So we have all this data, and so that's why I'll talk a little bit about data visualization as well. We teach our students how to do that, because anything you do today, on the backside of it is all sorts of data. But not everybody understands looking at spreadsheets of data or databases. Right. So you then have to visualize the information. I'm getting streams of information. So how do you take that and make it meaningful to the general public? Right. And so that is how graphics and art play into data analytics. Is you got to understand the data to then be able to communicate it graphically. Wow. So
it's amazing that all of this stuff is going on at LSUS. You got to get the word out.
This is why I'm here. This is why I'm here.
And you talked a minute ago about virtual reality, augmented reality.
Yeah.
You put it all together in XU. What's the new term?
XR is all types of.
Just put it all together.
The metaverse.
Reality, the metaverse.
Yeah, we're going to live in this place called the metaverse at some point, and
it's interesting, and we have all that, and you're really cultivating that at LSUS. If a person wants to come there, they're going to learn medicine. I imagine with prosthetics and certain things that have a lot to do with your 3D printing. It all comes together.
Yep. Actually, the other day I saw one of our biology faculty members teaching a class about proteins in cells. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. I don't understand that, but that's super cool. But what she was doing was teaching it on the holographic wall. And so our students weren't just seeing it in a textbook. They were actually able to rotate it and see it from each angle. And I'm like, this is the future of education right here. This is how students learn, because this generation learns very differently than we did, right? Because all we had was our encyclopedias, and every Friday when the encyclopedia arrived, we were so excited to, read through it. But that's not how it works.
I just glanced through it.
Well, it is exciting that LSUS we take it for granted. I know that's where my kids played soccer when they were kids. We went out. But it's an excellent university with a diverse number of things you can learn about there. There's all kinds of master's degrees in business, but now we have medicine. We have all this cyber innovation. There's sports medicine, I believe.
Yeah, so let me tell you really quickly.
What are some of the things so when people are here and they say, I want to send my kids somewhere, start looking at LSU first. And when you say, I want to hire someone with these credentials, start looking at LSU first.
Yeah, so I'm going to do 2 shameless plugs here for what you've just said.
It's allowed.
So when you look at affordability as well, right, we have some of the best scholarship programs in the state. And we have a Pell Grant program as well. So if a student gets a Pell Grant, so if they have any type of financial need and they qualify for a Pell Grant, we cover the difference of what they owe in tuition with our Pell Grant scholarship.
Oh, okay.
So that's really important because, a lot of people are like, oh, I can't afford to go to college. Yeah, you can. And, that's another message that, we have to get out there, because a lot of people are sitting there going, oh, I can't afford to go to college. I know it could change my life, but there's no way I could take out loans, blah, 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 blah. So we made it really affordable for people to come to LSU Shreveport, and that again, that's something that we're passionate about is, again, changing lives through education, changing that generation. And then one of the most amazing things that we've just signed an MOU, you talk about collaborations and people working together, we've signed an MOU with LSU Health Science Center so that our students who come, and there's lots of things they have to meet. Generally, I'm going to highlight 2 points, have a 3.5 GPA and then a 504 score on the MCAT, which is the med school admission test. If they do those 2 things, there's lots of other pieces as well, which courses they've taken. They are guaranteed an interview for med school at LSU Health Science Center.
Okay.
That's a game changer. So, if you have a student that is thinking, I want to go to med school, I want to be a doctor, well, come on to LSU Shreveport, study hard, take advantage of all of the student success support that we have, and get your grades, get your MCAT score, take the right classes, and you're guaranteed.
You don't just send off a letter and hope. You're guaranteed to get that interview with the med school.
Yep.
That's strong.
That's a game changer.
Yep.
Well, you talked about affordability. That's a big deal these days. I mean, back when I was going to college, or you got a tennis scholarship, I had a basketball scholarship, so I didn't really worry about it. But these days, the cost is enormous to go to college. They got to get the money somewhere.
Absolutely.
And they have. My daughter went to the University of Georgia, and I hardly paid anything because of all the scholarships and grants, et cetera, that she had. So I just question, if you don't have that, how you come out on the other end and you're able to repay all that. It's almost impossible, isn't it?
I would say no. I would say if you're going to look at going to college, you should be paying the minimal amount to go for your undergraduate degree.
Right, I agree with that.
That where you would expect to pay more is at the graduate level.
Okay.
So, LSU Shreveport, I'm going to use round numbers for you. We're about $7,500 a year.
That's it?
That's it.
Wow. Okay. And then you get this enormous education you were talking about.
Get this fantastic education. We've got a ton of scholarships. We've got institutional scholarships. We've got privately funded scholarships. We've got transfer scholarships. If you wanted to start at a different organization, at a smaller, perhaps a community college, and transfer into LSU Shreveport. We've got lots of pathways between community colleges as well and LSUS. And so we've really tried to make sure that we're focused on that affordability and quality. And I think we hit the mark on both.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
That sounds like a great deal,
to
be
is.
honest.
Yeah.
Wow.
And is it comparable price if it's an online learning, or is it less?
No, absolutely. It's comparable price. And, one of the great things that we were able to do, and when we talk about putting people from different backgrounds together in a class, in our online programs, we expand beyond the region, expand beyond Louisiana. We have people internationally signed up in our programs. We have people East Coast, West Coast, middle of the country, everywhere. In our MBA program, we actually had a student from each of the states in the United States in our program. And I think that just brings richness to discussions, and again, you learn from others. And even online classes, it's not someone puts a PowerPoint presentation and you read it and you're done. There's a lot of collaboration, a lot of discussion. And
you find that the students want to be in a classroom?
It depends. Some students really thrive in the classroom, in that learning environment. Some people working 2 jobs, have kids to take care of, and life gets in the way, and it's just more convenient for them to take the online class. So it really depends. So that's why we diversified into online classes and face-to-face classes, so that we could meet the needs of all the students.
Yeah, very good. I always, personally, I wanted to go to the classroom. I just, if I'm at home trying, I'm going to find something else to do.
I was the worst work-at-home person ever, because the sun was shining, and I was like, oh, do I sit here and sit through another Zoom meeting? Or should I go for a run?
Go play tennis.
I was like, should I go for a run?
Are you the one that just put the picture up during a Zoom meeting?
That was tough, wasn't it? Because I was like, oh man, do I really want to sit here?
My son's a computer science major, and their favorite thing, they wrote a program that moved the mouse every once in a while to keep the keep the screen looking like it
Look,
was
see,
active.
that's creativity. That is
they were,
creativity.
they weren't doing what they're supposed to do, but that's great learning.
Yeah.
It is. That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
That is awesome.
Shouldn't have let that secret out.
Come on. I want them to sell it. There's an app
That's
for
good.
that.
That's right.
That is good stuff.
What did we forget to ask you? Because we ask the questions in our limited educational capacity. Jeff and I, we talk
Speak
about
for yourself, by the way.
sports and computer games and Marvel Comics. But what is the most?
No. DC Comics. Come on.
All right, I'm a Spider-Man guy myself.
That's
You're a
Marvel.
Green Lantern guy.
No. Green Lantern.
What is going on there that you're most excited about right now that people really need to know that we forgot to ask you about today?
Yeah, boy, there's so much going on all the time on our campus, and you've got a tremendous faculty and staff who are just 100% behind supporting students. So we have our great athletic programs as well. Our basketball team is always ranked in the nation. Our baseball team, same thing. They're phenomenal. So there's something for everyone at LSUS. And I would just say, if you haven't come to check us out, we're not the LSUS of 10 years ago or 15 years ago. This is a new LSUS. And if you haven't been to our campus, please come for a visit. We have campus tours every day. Reach out to our recruitment office, and we would be more than happy to show you around and show you, how you can fit, how you can find
Right.
yourself at LSUS.
Well, it's a tremendous resource for our community, and Dr. Lessiter, you're a tremendous resource for LSUS, so thanks for coming out.
Well, I appreciate the time.
Good way to end it.
There you go.
Good sales pitch.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I like it. Wrap us up, Jeff.
I'm good. I was just going to do that. Thanks for the intro. And thank you for joining us for this podcast, The Good to Know Shreveport Bossier, brought to you by the Committee of 100 and KTBS TV. Remember, tell everybody about this podcast. We'll have new content every other Wednesday. For more information, you can check us out at goodtoknowsb.com. Until then, have a great day and continue to make Shreveport the best it can be. As always, this is all good to know. Have a good one, everybody.